There's a beautiful balance that occurs when two people have an equal amount of give and take. Imagine a top spinning ever so perfectly, almost as if a string is holding it up. The top symbolizes the relationship that you're in. Your loved one makes up one side and you the other. Now imagine if you give less than your loved one. The top begins to wobble and tip, moving drastically in inconsistent patterns. Imagine if you give too much and it pushes the top the other way. We need your relationship to find a happy equilibrium for your top to discover balance. Hello Moodlings, my name is Dr. Nicole Lunan and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Moodly, a new app that allows you to share over 400 and plus moods, emotions, and desires with your lover, thus making communication simple, fun, and super easy. In today's video, we will be going over 12 signs that you may in fact have a taker or an energy vampire in your life, sucking you dry of all your resources, well-being, and joy. If you are an empath, a kind-hearted person, or a people pleaser, you are the #1 target for a taker or an energy vampire. Why? Because you're most likely a giver, because you lean towards giving and nurturing. The opposite of that would be a taker. So while you're focused on giving, the other person is focused on taking. Thus, your energy will not get replaced. Knowledge is power. So the goal of today's video is to heighten your awareness of some of the characteristics of a taker. Now, before we get started, I'd like to state that just because some people are in a taker state at the moment, doesn't mean they're gonna be that way forever, especially if they're young. As people mature, they tend to learn respect, social manners, and tough lessons about life that will help them appreciate what others give to them. Also, nobody's perfect. It's possible that you may recognize some of those taker characteristics in yourself, and you can use this video as a way to improve and rebalance some of your relationships. However, there are people where the taker characteristics are just ingrained into them. They're not gonna change. And this is a sad truth, because if you're a giver, you'll most likely believe that they will, because you have a huge heart. And if that's the case, you'll have to make a tough decision to step away from the taker or stop giving to them and see how they act in return. If nothing in their part changes and they still show no effort, it might be time to bounce because you're letting your energy get fed off of. So let's look at 12 signs that you may be involved with a taker. Sign number 1. The taker in relationships require all of your support and your attention on demand, but rarely gives you the same unless there's something in it for them. We all have a crisis here and there, times where we really need support, whether it's when we're sick or we got into an argument with a loved one. We naturally look for our partner for support, to vent, and to dig deep why people act the way they do. You're a giver in relationships if you show up for your partner. I mean physically, emotionally, mentally, show up. You create a safe space for your partner to get their troubles out. Whatever their need is, you're happy to give it to them, whether it's a hug, a comforting kiss on the forehead. Maybe some crazy stuff has happened in your life that day, but you know that your partner's woes are on the table right now, so you wait to bring up your stuff. Now, let's talk about a taker's reaction to this situation. As a taker, their partner comes to them in crisis mode. The taker decides whether or not supporting their partner is going to be beneficial to them at all. If they find that it does, they're going to fake sympathy, act like they're listening. Then at the opportune time, they're going to interject their agenda and strike while it's hot. If the taker doesn't find your situation beneficial to them, they'll simply not show up. They'll be hard to reach. They won't take care of you when you're sick. They'll act like they're listening, but instead have an eye on the TV. They'll diminish your feelings and tell you you are overreacting. Pretty much, they're gonna do what's best for them at that time and leave you dealing with your stuff by yourself or with other people who actually care about you. They're not a person to lean on you when unfortunate events happen in your life. They're gonna find a way to make it about themselves. However, let them experience an issue and they're gonna expect you to stop what you're doing and tend to them. If support is one-sided in your relationship, then this is the sign that you have a taker on your hands. Sign number 3. The taker in relationships rarely make plans. If you're a giver, you're usually proactive. You plan dates, you make reservations, and you think about what kind of atmosphere would be fun for your loved one. You might order groceries so that you can cook your partner's favorite meal. If you're a taker, you make no effort to make plans because you know that your partner is going to do it for you. You expect your partner to provide entertaining plans that will keep you upbeat and happy. The taker at times won't even show up to the giver's plans or blow them off, or doesn't appreciate how much time or work went into making the experience as lovely as it was. As a proactive planner myself, this is infuriating. Make some solid and fun plans once in a while for the person who typically plans everything. And also show up for the plans that are made for you. Sign number 4. So this one is especially true if you don't have a dynamic where one partner has agreed to pay for everything. If you find yourself paying for mostly everything and that's not something that you agreed to, then you might be in a relationship with a taker. This goes for friendships as well. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to call some people out right now. For all of you who don't pay for any of the Ubers, who say they're gonna buy the next round but never do, who ask to borrow money but don't pay it back, who show up to parties with nothing in your hands, who don't offer to put your cards down at dinner because you don't wanna pay for your entire meal and tip, who don't buy your close friends' birthday cakes, who don't pitch in on the gas when you're both traveling together, who don't offer to drive but instead sleep in the front seat, who borrow clothes but they never give back, who doesn't buy toilet paper and paper towels, who asks to get picked up from the airport but then refuses to, return the favor. This is you being a taker. And if you don't know, now you know. People notice when you don't give back, especially when it comes to money, resources, and time. If you think you're slipping by unnoticed, you're not. You're just inspiring people who you take from to become more resentful. Sign number 5. Okay, let's talk about cleanliness. If you have a relationship or a friendship where you have chosen certain roles, like you really like cleaning, or you've chosen to take care of the cleaning chores as a way for you to provide for your partnership or friendship, then ignore this. But otherwise, if you find yourself picking up after another person most of the time, if majority of the time you're cleaning all their dirty dishes, you take out the trash, you mop, you vacuum the floor, if you do the laundry for both you and your partner, you fold it up nice and neat, if you cook all the dinners and your partner doesn't ask if you need help with the dishes. For friends who live with each other, cleaning is a way of showing respect for one another. So if you're leaving a mess everywhere for others to clean up, or you don't follow the cleaning schedule or contribute to helping when others are, then you are taking energy away from others. It's disrespectful. In general, if you find yourself becoming a maid for your partner or friends while they don't help at all, and this isn't something that you signed up for, it's possible that you're in a relationship with a taker. Sign number 6. If you're in a friendship or relationship with a taker, you'll know because the spotlight always has to be on them. Takers need all of the attention they don't like to share. This dynamic plays out in interesting ways in friendships. Let's say 3 friends are out together. If there's a taker, then they're going to triangulate the attention, meaning that the taker will have you and the other friend battling it out against each other for the taker's attention. The taker will start a war between you and another by creating disagreements between the two of you, while the taker puts himself in the middle as a prize to be won. In a relationship, the taker will not allow you to have moments to shine. If you're getting too much attention, the taker will get jealous and make passive-aggressive comments to sway the attention off of you and back onto them. If the taker isn't the center of attention, they'll cause drama or issues in the relationship until they are. Sign number 7. No matter how much attention you give a taker, it's not going to be enough. The taker has an empty spot inside of themselves, and it's boundless. It's a cup that can't be filled by an outside person. This cup can only be filled by the taker loving themselves. But unfortunately for a taker, this is one of the hardest things to do. They run from themselves, and instead of learning how to feed themselves, they rely on others to feed them. They rely on givers to nourish their souls. It's tempting to try to change a taker, to make them wake up and realize that they have a beautiful giver right in front of them. But they have to discover this for themselves, and most times they discover this after the giver has left, after the giver has stopped doing the things that they usually do. That emptiness is where they'll feel some sort of appreciation and longing. One would hope that it was genuine appreciation, but it could also just be that they don't have anybody else to do those things for them anymore. And now they're worried about themselves yet again. Sign number 8. Takers rarely contact you first. They rarely make dates with you. They rarely reach out to you just to see how you're doing. You have to be the one to contact them. Call them. This conditions you from the beginning that you need to be the one to put in communication effort, and if you don't, there will be no relationship. There isn't reciprocation with a taker unless there's something in it for them. As time goes on and the taker sees something about you that they can use for their advantage, they'll contact you because they want to feed off of whatever resources that you have. That could be your friends group, your money, the way you make them feel, your body, all of it. Sign number 9. One way to spot a taker is that they usually don't have that many close, deep, healthy connections around them. They might be estranged from their family or not really close with them. The connections that they do have are usually heavy, conflicting, or surface level. You hear them complaining about arguments with their friends, their family, and they demonize them and sway you to believe in their story. Then you happen to hear the other side of the story and it doesn't sound anything like what the taker told you. Sign number 10. Takers are unbelievably entitled and they don't like to share. For one reason or another, they truly believe that they're owed something or everything from most people they come into contact with. So for example, if you have food, they're gonna think that they're entitled to your food. They're gonna eat your food, but when they have food and you ask to have some of their food, they're gonna say, I paid for that, or no, I wanna save it for later. Takers believe that they're entitled to your resources, but when it comes to their resources, they're very stingy and they won't share. Or maybe they'll make you jump through hoops to get it. Sign number 11. I mentioned this a little bit before, but the taker doesn't tend to you when you're not feeling well. If you have a taker in your life, they'll most likely abandon you when you're not feeling well, emotionally, physically, mentally, because they're not able to use your energy because you don't have much to give. For example, let's say you have anxiety about being in a large crowd. They're not gonna go with you to the back of the crowd or stand to the side, and they're gonna make you feel like a nuisance to them, like you're a burden. Let's say that you're sick and you ask them to bring you soup. They're gonna make up an excuse to why they can't do that for you. Another example I have is when girls are too sick to have sex, but the guy pressures it until it happens. The taker in this example doesn't care that his girl is sick. He only cares about what he can get in his pleasure. Number 12, I, me, mine, my. Takers are lost in the world of I. Most of the time they speak to you, it's going to be about their experience. Even when you talk to them about something heartbreaking and serious, they're gonna find a way to bring it back to them and their experience. Ultimately, they'll hijack the conversation. You'll probably find that you don't want to talk to them as much, or you feel better talking to other people, because with takers, you're gonna go into the conversation with less energy than coming in. Takers are really bad at listening and holding space. However, they might put up a good act. All right, that's our video for today. If you liked our video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And download MoodMe. You can find it on iOS and Google Play. And see you later, Moodlings.